So it's like that with all the different classifications of people, even amongst women, because as Chanakya Pandit says, you can't trust a diplomat or a woman. If a woman is a Vaishnavi, of course she can be trusted because she's engaged in Krishna's service. But a diplomat also. Vasudeva was a diplomat, Ugrasen was a diplomat. Everyone had to do their duty as Kshatriyas. But because they were pure devotees of the Lord, they could certainly be trusted.
At that time, the great sage Narada came to Kamsa. He was informed of Kamsa's becoming compassionate to Vasudeva and returning his firstborn child. Narada was very anxious to accelerate the descent of Lord Krishna as soon as possible. He therefore informed Kamsa that personalities like Nanda Maharaj and all the cowherd men and girls are the wives of the cowherd men in Vrindavan. And on the other side, Vasudeva, his father, Surasena, and all his relatives born in the family of Vanshi of the Yadu dynasty were preparing for the appearance of the Lord. Narada warned Kamsa to be careful of the friends and well-wishers and all the demigods taking birth in those families. Krishna Book, Chapter 1.
Yes, so Narada had a specific intention. He wanted to help both sides, both the demigods and the demons. Because if the demons are killed by the Supreme Lord, they get salvation. At the same time, he wanted to help the demigods because he wanted to speed up the appearance of Lord Krishna. So Narada Muni, the extra verse that is given, it's not in this Srimad Bhagavatam, but it's in the additional summaries that Prabhupada gave at the end of the chapter. Narada Muni from a distance, from a forest, sent a messenger. And Kamsa was very happy that Narada Muni was coming to see him. And he respected Narada Muni. And Narada Muni convinced him, it was by Narada Muni's instigation that Kamsa engaged in more and more sinful activities, because this would increase, this would accelerate Lord Krishna's appearance.
Narada was a friend of the king Heaven, and thus he told Kamsa, the son of Ugrasena, "My dear hero, you have satisfied me with a proper reception, and therefore I shall tell you something secret and confidential. While I was coming here from Nanda Kamsu through the Charitrata forest, I saw a great meeting of the demigods who followed me to Sumeru Pravala. We traveled through many holy places, and finally we saw the holy Ganges, while Lord Brahma was consulting the other demigods at the top of Sumeru hill. I was also present with my stringed instrument, the veena. I shall tell you confidentially that the meeting was held just to plan to kill the Asuras. Headed by you, you have a younger sister named Devaki, and it is a fact that her 8th son will kill you." Reference Harivalsa Vishnupurva 1.2 to 16. Additional notes to chapter 1. The inhabitants of Vrindavan, headed by Nanda Maharaj and including the associate cowherd men and their wives, were none but denizens of the heavenly planets. O Maharaja Parikshit, best of the descendants of Bharata, and so too were the descendants of the Vanshi dynasty, headed by Vasudeva and Devaki and the other women of the dynasty of Yadu. The friends, relative and well-wishers of both Nanda Maharaja and Vasudeva were even those who externally appeared to be followers of Kamsa, were all demigods. Source Srimad Bhagavatam 10.62 to 63.
Yes. So here we have the special mercy of the Lord, because when the Lord manifests in his holy dhams, he brings his Nitya Siddha Bhaktas along with him, from the spiritual world. At the same time, those devotees who are aspiring to go back to Godhead and enter into the pastimes of the Lord are informed by the Lord to take birth so that they can take part in his pastimes that are being manifested on earth. So it's a meeting of the two. It's not that only the Lord comes with his Nitya Siddha Bhaktas and no one else can become a Nitya Siddha Bhakta. No, those living entities who have become purified, purified means demigod. What does demigod is just it's an English translation of the word devata. The devatas mean that they have transcendental qualities. And those are the 26 qualities of devotee. So devotee equals demigod, which equals devata. So devotees, they get to take birth where the Lord is planning to manifest his pastimes and mingle with the pure devotees, the Nitya Siddha Bhaktas, and at the same time they get to take part in the Lord's manifest pastimes before they go back to Godhead.
As previously discussed, the Supreme Personality of God, Vishnu, informed Lord Brahma that Lord Krishna would personally descend to mitigate the suffering on the earth. The Lord ordered all the residents of the heavenly planets to take birth in different families of the Yadu and Vansi dynasties and in Vrindavan. Now, this verse informs us that all the family and Vansi dynasty, Nanda Maharaj and the Gopis, were descended from the heavenly lands to see the pastimes of the Lord, as confirmed in the Bhagavad-Gita 4.8. The Lord's pastime consists of paritranaya sadhuna vinasaya chadushkritam, saving the devotees and killing the demons. To demonstrate these activities, the Lord called for devotees from different parts of the universe. Source Srimad Bhagavatam 10:62 to 63 purport.
Yes, so Prabhupada's helping us understand. Yes, he comes for this purpose, paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam. And the devotees are expected to take part in those activities as well. Now there were some devotees, because when Kamsa took control of Mathura and the whole region of Surasen, many devotees fled because he was such a great demon. Plus he wanted to kill all the children. But some of them stayed and pretended to be servants and friends of Kamsa. For instance, Akrura. Kamsa actually trusted Akrura. He confided in him that I want you to bring these two boys because I want to kill them. And Akrura, he wasn't another diplomat. He saw it as a benediction because then he was going to be able to go to Vrindavan. Because the residents of Mathura, they were afraid to go to Vrindavan. Because if Kamsa found out, they would be killed. So we have to understand that all of these devotees, they were sent here by the Lord to take part in his pastimes. They all played different roles in his pastimes. And now it's lining up because Kamsa is going to start performing so many atrocious activities that the Supreme Lord will be forced to come and kill him.
There are many devotees who are elevated to the higher planetary system. Prapaya punna karam lokam unrishta srevasta samaha suchaman shitaman gache yoga vasta vijate. The unsuccessful yogi, after many years of enjoyment of the planets, of the pious living entities, in born into a family of righteous people or into family of rich aristocracy. Bhagavad-Gita 6.41. Some devotees, having failed to complete the process of devotional service, are promoted to the heavenly planet, to which the peers are elevated, and other enjoying there may be directly promoted to the place where the Lord's pastimes are going on. When Lord Krishna was to appear The denizens of the heavenly planets were invited to see the pastime of the Lord, and Vansi dynasties and the inhabitants of the Vrindavan were demigods or almost as good as demigods, even those who externally helped the activities of Kamsa belong to the higher planetary system. So Srimad Bhagavatam 10.62-63 purport.
Yes. Now, here we have a picture of Krishna in Dwarka. There were lakhs and lakhs and lakhs of residents of Dwarka who were all worshipping the Supreme Lord in his Vasudev form, four-armed. If you go to Dwarka now even, at the Dwarkadish temple, which is a very ancient temple, they have one room where all the queens are. They all have four arms, and they even have a deity of Radharani, Radhika. She also has four arms, because they believe that Krishna's pastimes in Vraj are temporary, and the eternal form of the Lord is Narayan. Whereas the devotees of Braj, the Vrindavan Vasis, they understand that Krishna's original form is two-armed. Now you'll see also in Braj, not only did the human beings take birth to take part in the pastimes, but the sages and the munis, they wanted to take part as well. So what type of birth did they take? They took birth as the cows and the calves and the trees. Because those devotees in Shantaras, they appreciate the Supreme Lord's all of his qualities, but they don't take active devotional service. They don't take part in that. So they came in the Shantaras to observe the Lord's pastimes.
The imprisonment and release of Vasudeva and the killing of various demons were all unmanifestations of the pastimes of the Lord, and because the devotees would be pleased to see these activities personally, they were all invited to take birth as friends and relatives to these families, as confirmed in the prayers of Kunti, Srimad Bhagavatam, source 1.8.19. Nato naitya tharo yatha. The Lord was to play the part of demon killer as a friend, son, and brother to his devotees, and thus these devotees were all summoned. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.62-63 purport.
Yes, even in the Braj Leela, every day Krishna and Balaram would kill a demon. And the boys enjoyed it so much, and when they came back to the village in the afternoon and evening time, they would tell their mothers, they would tell their fathers, oh, today Krishna killed this demon, Balaram did this. So this was fun for the devotees to see Krishna kill demons. They were enjoying it.
Narada warned Kamsa to be careful of the friends and well-wishers and all the demigods taking birth in those valleys. Kamsa and his friends and advisors were all demons. Demons are always afraid of demigods. After being thus informed by Narada about the appearance of the demigods in different families, Kamsa at once became alert. He understood that since the demigod had already appeared, Lord Vishnu must be coming soon. He at once arrested both his brother-in-law Vasudeva and Devaki and put them behind prison bars. Krishna Book, Chapter 1.
Okay. Now where does this animosity come from between the demons and the demigods? We have to go all the way back to the beginning of the creation, when the Prajapatis were putting forth so many generations of human beings and living entities. And Kashyapa Muni, he had two wives, Aditi and Diti. And Diti was the youngest, and all the other wives, they had children. Diti didn't have any children. So out of envy for her co-wives, she approached her husband at an inauspicious time and demanded that he immediately give her a child. He resisted, but because she was so demanding, he fell prey to her demands, and he told her, you'll have two sons and they'll be great demons. So the Daityas, the demons, they are from Diti. That's why they're called Daityas. And the demigods, they were all born from Aditi. So they're called Adityas. So it was this family feud. They were all co-brothers. But the demigods and the demons from that time onward have been fighting. Because when the great demons Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu were born, they immediately, as soon as they grew up, they tried to become immortal. They tried every way possible to deny the existence of the Lord. They wanted to kill the Lord and themselves become the supreme controllers. So this is the difference between the demons and the devotees. And now, so many millions of years later, still the demons and the devotees are two separate sections. Now in Satya Yuga they were on different planets. In Treta Yuga they were in different countries. Now in Dwapara Yuga they're in different families. Slightly different families. In Kali Yuga, the demon and the devotee, they're in the same body. That's why we also have demoniac qualities and devotional qualities, both. So we have to be especially careful in Kali Yuga to pray to Krishna to kill these demoniac qualities. Well, just like Diti and Aditi.
Once the great saint Narada approached Kamsa and informed him to how the demoniac persons who were a great burden on the earth were going to be killed. Thus Kamsa was placed into great fear and doubt. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.164. It has already been discussed that Mother Earth implored Lord Brahma to give her relief from the distress created by the burdensome demons, and the Lord Brahma informed her that Lord Krishna himself was going to appear. Krishna says in the Bhagavad-Gita 4.8, Paritranaya sadhu nam vinashaya chadushkritam dharma samstapanathaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Whenever there is a burden created by the demons, and whenever the innocent devotees are distressed by the demoniac rulers, the Lord appears in due course of time to kill the demons with the assistance of his real representatives, who are technically called the demigods. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.1.64 purport.
Yes. So Arjuna, he was a devotee. But here, they're technically called demigods. He took birth on the earthly planet. He had so many difficulties in his lifetime. But still he's considered a demigod because he was a devotee of the Lord. So devotees of the Lord, they always assist the Lord in whatever activities, whatever service they have to assist the Lord in his mission. And that mission is Paritanaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Chadukritam.
In the Upanishad, it is stated that the demigods are different parts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As it is the duty of the parts of the body to serve the whole, it is the duty of Krishna's devotees to serve the Krishna as he wants. Krishna's business is to kill the demons, and therefore this should be a devotee's business also. Because the people of Kali Yuga are fallen, however, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, out of kindness for them, did not bring any weapon to kill them. Rather, by spreading Krishna consciousness, love of Krishna, he wanted to kill their nefarious demoniac activities. This is the purpose of the Krishna consciousness movement. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.1.64 purport.
Yes. So now, if we're also devotees, which we're trying to be, Lord Chaitanya's movement is going on. He was here only 500 years ago. According to prediction, the next 10,000 years will be a golden age of Krishna consciousness. And it's our duty to assist Lord Chaitanya with his mission. We don't have any weapons. What do we have? We have a bead bag. We have some books. The books are called time bombs. How are they time bombs? Because if someone takes a book, just by touching it, they become purified. And if they happen to read the book, they can become pure devotees that way. So the books are our weapons. The chanting of Hare Krishna is a form of a weapon because it can completely just by chanting Hare Krishna. So these were the special gifts, these weapons given to us by Lord Chaitanya to assist us in his mission. Yes, prasadam is a secret weapon too.
And that's why already once that by a gun we may feel it terrorist, but by real education we can feel that terrorism.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Unless the demonic activities on the surface of the world are diminished or vanquished, no one can be happy. The program for the conditioned soul is fully described in the Bhagavad-Gita, and one has to simply follow these instructions to become happy. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore prescribed Hare Nam, Kevalam, Kalo Nasteva Katir Annatha. Source Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi, 10.21. Let people chant the Hare Krishna mantra constantly. Then their demoniac tendencies will be killed, and they will become first-class devotees, happy in life and in the next. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.1.64 purport. Arjuna said, O master of the senses, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everyone becomes attached to you. Although the perfected beings offer you their respected homage, and demons are afraid, and they flee here and there. All this rightly done. Bhagavad-Gita 11.36.
This sloka from Bhagavad-Gita I added. It wasn't part of the purport. I added it because the Harinam sloka that comes from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila 1721, where does that sloka originally come from? It comes from one of the Upanishads, that is Kali Sankara Upanishad. This is a conversation between Narada Muni and Lord Brahma, his father. Narada Muni was distressed because Kali Yuga was coming. Lord Krishna had left the planet. So he went to his father and asked him, how are the people going to be liberated? How will they get purified now that Lord Krishna has left the planet? And Lord Brahma gave him this sloka. And if you read the 12th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's also stated, Kirtanan Eva, Kirtanan, yes. So this is the recommended process in the age of Kali to chant the holy name.
Within the prison, shackled in iron chains, Vasudeva and Devaki gave birth to a male child year after year, and comes to thinking each of the babies be the incarnation of Vishnu, killed them one after another. He was particularly afraid of the eighth child, but after the visit of Narada, he came to the conclusion that any child might be Krishna. Therefore, it was better to kill all the babies who took birth of Devaki and Vasudeva. Krishna Book, Chapter 1. After the departure of the great saint Narada, comes a thought that all the members of the Yadu dynasty were demigods, and that any of the children born from the womb of Devaki might be Vishnu. Fearing his death, Kamsa arrested Vasudeva and Devaki and chained them with iron shackles, suspecting each of the children to be Vishnu. Kamsa killed them one after another because of the prophecy that Vishnu would kill him. Source Srimad Bhagavatam.
We're putting these two sections together on one page because what Prabhupada wrote in the Krishna book and what Prabhupada translated in the Srimad Bhagavatam 10.1 is exactly the same. Correct? So therefore, if we read Krishna book, it means we're getting the entire Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto verbatim, just as if Prabhupada had been able to translate the entire 10th canto while he was on this planet. We don't have to worry that Prabhupada only translated up to chapter 13 and his disciples translated the rest. No, everything is right there in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the Krishna book. And the way Srila Prabhupada did it was, each paragraph was one sloka. And he would give the purport right there within the paragraph. So that's what we're seeing in this class. That what Prabhupada has given in this Krishna book chapter 1 is exactly what he's given in the 10th canto.
Srila Jiva Goswami, in his notes on his verse, has mentioned how Narada Muni gave Kamsa this information. This incident is described in the Hari Vamsha. Narada Muni went to see Kamsa by providence, and Kamsa received him very well. Narada therefore informed him that any one of the sons of Devaki might be Vishnu, because Vishnu was to kill him. Kamsa should not spare any of Devaki's children. Narada Muni advised. Narada's intention was that Kamsa, by killing the children, would increase his sinful activities so that Krishna would soon appear to kill him. Upon receiving the instructions of the Narada Muni, Kamsa killed all the children of Devaki one after another. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.1.65 to 66 purport.
So Narada Muni went out of his way to induce Kamsa to kill these children, because he knew that by killing the children, Kamsa's sinful activity would increase, and therefore the devotees would be more and more oppressed, and Krishna then would appear even sooner.
The word Ajnana Sankha indicates that Lord Vishnu never takes birth, Ajnana, that he therefore appeared as Krishna, taking birth just like a human being. Manusham tumam astiram. Kamsa attempted to kill all the babies born of Devaki and Vasudeva, although he knew that if Vishnu were born, he would not be killed. Actually, it came to pass that when Vishnu appeared as Krishna, Kamsa could not kill him. Rather, as foretold, it was he who killed Kamsa. One should know in truth how Krishna, who takes his birth transcendentally, acts to kill the demons but is never killed. When one perfectly understands Krishna in this way, through the medium of Shastra, one becomes immortal, as the Lord says in the Bhagavad-Gita 4.9. Janma karma cha divyam evam to vetti tatvatah tatvikare deham punar janma nairi mam iti so rajuna. One who knows that leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode. O Arjuna. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.1.65 to 66 purport.
So Kamsa was intelligent. Actually, he was Krishna conscious, but he was Krishna conscious in a pratikul mentality. That means he was always thinking how to kill Krishna. And he thought he saw Krishna everywhere. Just like a pure devotee, he sees Krishna everywhere. So Kamsa, out of fear, he was also seeing Krishna everywhere, because he was afraid that Krishna was coming to kill him. So this pratikul, although it was unfavorable because in a negative way he was Krishna conscious. This helped him and eventually he became liberated.
This action of Kamsa is not very difficult to understand. There are many instances in the history of the world of persons in the royal order who have killed father, brother, or a whole family and friends for the satisfaction of their ambitions. There is nothing astonishing about this, for the demoniac can kill anyone for their nefarious ambitions. Krishna Book, Chapter 1.
Right in the same family, we had Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana. Numerous times they schemed to kill the Pandavas who were the rightful heirs to the kingdom. And they didn't even mind that that Kunti Devi would also be killed. They arranged for the house of lac, they gave Bhima poison, they cheated them, everything possible. And Vidura, who was the younger brother of both Dhritarashtra and Pandu, he understood all of these schemes of Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana. And just like a real uncle, a loving uncle, he tried to protect the Pandavas from all of their schemes to kill them. So this is the way demoniac people are thinking. If they want something, they don't hesitate at all to kill their own father, brother, or whole family and friends just for the satisfaction of their ambitions.
Kings greedy for sense gratification on this earth almost always kill their enemies indiscriminately to satisfy their own whims. They may kill anyone, even their mothers, fathers, brothers or friends. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.1.67. When we have seen in the history of India that Aurangzeb killed his brother and nephews and imprisoned his father to fulfill political ambitions, there have been many similar instances and was the same type of king. Kamsa did not hesitate to kill his nephews and imprison his sister and his father. For demons to do such things is not astonishing. Nonetheless, although Kamsa was a demon, he was aware that Lord Vishnu can't be killed, and thus he attained salvation. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.1.67 purport.
So this history that Prabhupada describes in the purport, it happened right here in Agra. Shah Jahan, is that his name? Yes. He was put in prison. Excuse me? Aurangzeb was his son, yes. So Shah Jahan, who built the Taj Mahal, right, out of love for the mother, because when the mother died at an early age, he neglected his children because he was in so much separation from his wife and building the Taj Mahal to honor her. So the children grew up demoniac. And this brother, this son Aurangzeb, he went so far as to kill his own brother and the nephews so that no one could take the throne except for him. And then he imprisoned his own father, Shah Jahan, who had built all of the palaces and everything. He had transferred his kingdom here to Agra. So he was imprisoned in his own palaces, in his own prison house that he had built for others. So this is the nature of the demons. They're ready to kill anyone for their own ambitions, just as Kamsa was doing.
Even partial understanding of the
He manipulated Dhritarashtra because Dhritarashtra was advised by the sages to immediately kill this child Duryodhana when he was born, right? But Dhritarashtra was so attached that he didn't kill him, and Duryodhana, he caused Dhritarashtra to commit so many sinful activities. So that was as good as killing him.
Even partial understanding of the activities of Lord Vishnu makes one eligible for salvation. Kamsa knew a little about Krishna, that he could not be killed, and therefore he attained salvation through the thought of Vishnu, Krishna as an enemy. What then is to be said of one who knows Krishna perfectly from the descriptions of Shastras like the Bhagavad-Gita? It is therefore the duty of everyone to read the Bhagavad-Gita and understand Krishna perfectly. This will make one's life successful. Srimad Bhagavad 10.1.67 purport.
So we have, within this pastime, we've been hearing for the last few days that Kamsa was previously Kalanimi. Now Kalanimi was actually the son of Hiranyaksha, and he had a brother Andaka. And when that big battle occurred after the demons were cheated from the Amrit, Andaka was killed by Lord Shiva, and Vishnu killed Kalanimi. So from his previous birth, he knew that only Vishnu could kill him because he was so powerful. And therefore, even in this lifetime, he understood that Vishnu could not be killed. Therefore, he especially feared him because no one else could kill him except Vishnu in the previous birth. Now this birth also. No one could overcome Kamsa. He was so powerful. He had so many affiliations with other demons. Only Krishna would be able to kill him.
Kamsa was made aware of his previous birth by the grace of Narada. He had in his previous birth he was a demon of the name Kalaneni, and that he was killed by Vishnu. Having taken his birth in the Bhoja family, he decided to become the deadly enemy of the Yadu dynasty. Krishna was going to take birth in that family, and Kamsa was very much afraid that he would be killed by Krishna, just as he was killed in his last birth. Krishna Book, Chapter 1. In his previous birth, Kamsa had been a great demon named by Kalaneni and been killed by Vishnu. Upon learning this information from Narada, Kamsa became envious of everyone connected with the Yadu dynasty. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.1.68.
So Kamsa wasn't aware of this. Just a few slokas before, Kamsa, out of compassion, told Vasudeva, I have no fear of this child. You take the baby home. So he was actually being kind. He wasn't worried about this baby. He was only worried about the 8th baby. He allowed Devaki to live. He allowed the first child, Kirtiman, to live. But Narada wasn't happy with this. So Narada, on his own, he came and stirred up all the pastimes. He instilled in Kamsa fear and hatred and enviousness of the Yadu dynasty, and reminded him, because we can't remember our previous births, so he reminded Kamsa, last time you were Kalanimi. Kamsa didn't know that before. So it was Narada who was making all this trouble because he wanted to see Krishna as quickly as possible.
Persons who are demons, enemies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are called Asuras, as stated in the Bhagavad-Gita. The Asuras, because of their enmity towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead, take birth after birth in Asuras families, and therefore glide down to the darkest hellish regions. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.1.68 purport.
That's what we're seeing now. This is just the beginning of Kali Yuga. It's only 5,000 years old. There are 427,000 more years to go. The next 10,000 years, there'll be a golden era with the chanting of Hare Krishna by Lord Chaitanya's mercy. After that, the devotees will have to hide in caves. Even now, the devotees sometimes have to hide from the demoniac rulers. Sometimes the devotees are killed just for chanting Hare Krishna. That's a great offense, according to the demons, to chant the name of the Lord. So, by the end of Kali Yuga, the people will be so demoniac, as Prabhupada explained to Alan Ginsberg, I will eat you and you will eat me. There'll be no grains, no milk because they'll be killing the animals. There'll be no fruits, no vegetables. So they'll turn to cannibalism because they'll only have each other to eat. And at that time, the final, in this millennium, the final avatar will come, and that's Kalki. He won't preach. He'll simply kill all of these asuras. And the demigods who have been hiding will then start the new Satya Yuga.
He first of all imprisoned his father Ugrasena because he was the chief king among the Yadu, Bhoja and Andhaka dynasties. And he also occupied the kingdom of Surasena, Vasudeva's father. He declared himself the king of all such places. Thus ends the Bhakti-Vedanta purport of the first chapter, Krishna, Advent of the Lord Krishna. Kamsa, the most powerful son of Ugrasena, even imprisoned his own father, the king of the Yadu, Bhoja and Andhaka dynasties, are personally ruled the state known as Surasena. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.1.69.
Yes, so this is the official end of the Srimad Bhagavatam chapter 1, which is called Introduction. But after this, Srila Prabhupada gives many, many pages of additional notes for every single sloka. So we're going to go through some of those notes, and plus we're going to refer to other parts of the Srimad Bhagavatam to help us understand these personalities better. Excuse me? In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's right there.
Ugrasena was one of the powerful kings.
So you're saying that Prabhupada knew in advance that he was going to do all this. Prabhupada knew that ahead of time he was going to do all this setup like this.
Yeah, well, it's according to the notes of the acharyas, because there are additional slokas and there are additional commentaries that would have made it very, very lengthy. So he put it all at the end, after the 69th verse.
Ugrasena was one of the powerful kings of the Vrindavan dynasty and cousin of the Maharaja Kunti Bhoj. His other name is Ahuva. His minister was Vasudeva, and his son was the powerful Kamsa. The Kamsa imprisoned his father and became the king of Mathura. By the grace of the Lord Krishna and his brother, Lord Baladeva, Kamsa was killed, and Ugrasena was reinstalled one of the throne. When Salva attacked the city of Dwarka, Ugrasena fought very brilliantly and repulsed the enemy. Ugrasena inquired from Naradji about the divinity of Lord Krishna. When the Yadu dynasty was to be vanquished, Ugrasena was entrusted with the iron hump produced from the womb of the Samba. He ground the iron hump into powder and then mixed with the sea water on the coast of Dwarka. After this, he ordered complete prohibition within the city of Dwarka and the kingdom. He got salvation after his death. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.11.16 to 17 purport.
So this was in the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhupada was introducing the different devotees of the Lord, and this is how Prabhupada described Ugrasena.
Kamsa, Sunama, Nyagrodha, Kartika, Sanku, Shuhu, Raspatra, Drushti, and Tustiman were the sons of Ugrasena. Srimad Bhagavatam 9.24.24. Kamsa, Kasindevi, Kanka, Shrubhahu, and Rastapadika were the daughters of the Ugrasena. They became the wives of Vasudeva's younger brother. Srimad Bhagavatam 9.24 to 25.
So Vasudeva was the minister of Ugrasena. And not only that, Vasudeva was the son of Surasena. So it was a close family relationship.
Lord Krishna's father Vasudeva had 60 wives, and one of them named Pavitri or Rohini. The mother of Baladeva was the sister of Vidura. Vasudeva therefore was the husband of Vidura's sister, and thus they were brother-in-law. Vasudeva's sister Kunti was the wife of Pandu, Vidura's elder brother, and in the sense also Vasudeva was a brother-in-law to Vidura. Kunti was younger than Vasudeva, and it was the duty of the elder brother to treat younger sisters as daughters. Whenever anything was needed by Kunti, it was magnificently delivered by Vasudeva. Due to his great love for his younger sister, Vasudeva never dissatisfied his wives, and at the same time he supplied the objects desired by his sister. He had special attention for Kunti because he became a widow at an early age. Srimad Bhagavatam 3.1.27 purport.
Yes. In fact, as soon as Krishna, after he killed Kamsa, the first thing he did was he sent Akrura to find out how the Pandavas were and how Kunti Devi was, because the whole family was concerned about them.
The son of Kartivarjuna was Surasena, and the countries he ruled were also called Surasena. This is noted by Sanatana Goswami in his Vaishnava Tosami commentary. The state known as Mathura was also included within the state known as Surasena. Srimad Bhagavatam 10 for 1.69 purport. Formerly, Surasena, the chief of the Yadu dynasty, had gone to live in the city of the Mathura. There we enjoyed the places known as Mathura and Surasena. Chikaradetu was also previous king of Surasena.
So this, you see here on the map, Surasena is where the Jamuna flows. So it's a big area, and the capital of Surasena is Mathura. So this Kartavirya Arjuna, he was the same person who killed Jamadagni to steal the Nandini cow, the Kamadhenu of Jamadagni. And then Parshuram came, chopped off all of his arms, and he killed all of his 1,000 sons except for 5 sons. And one of those sons was Surasen. So Surasen came here along the Jamuna and made his capital here at Mathura. He wasn't a demon. Kartavirya Arjuna later became Vishwamrita. Yes. he was, while he was Kartavirya Arjuna, he was very puffed up. And he wanted that Nandini cow.
I reading in the Srimad Bhagavatam that one time he meets with Ravana and she...
Right, so powerful.
She wins Ravana.
Yeah.
In regard to Mathura, we find this quotation in the Gopala Tapami Upanishad 2.63. Madhyato jagat sarvatam brahma jnanena yaneva tat sarabhute yad yasam mathurasa nigayate. When a self-realized soul acts in his transcendental position, his situation is called Mathura. In other words, when one acts in the process of bhakti-yoga, he may live anywhere, but actually he lives in Mathura, Vrindavan. Devotion to Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj, is the essence of all knowledge, and wherever such knowledge is manifested is called Mathura. Also, when one establishes bhakti-yoga, excluding all other methods, one's situation is called Mathura. Yatra mithya samito hariha, the place where Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, lives eternally, is called Mathura. The word Nitya indicates eternity.
So this is part of the additional notes that Prabhupada gave, because as we've been going through this whole chapter, which has taken now 7 days, these additional notes we've incorporated. That's why I have to speak a little bit, because Prabhupada gives each verse further explanation in these additional notes. So here Prabhupada's explaining from the Gopal Tapani Upanishad the real Mathura. Mathura is a sense of consciousness. And that is when one is purely engaged in bhakti-yoga, then he actually lives in Mathura. And that's why a pure devotee, he's considered a tirtha, because wherever he goes, it's as if Vrindavan, Mathura is with him. When Prabhupada in the early days was in New York City, he said, I'm not in New York, I'm in Vrindavan, because my consciousness is in Vrindavan. So that's the way a pure devotee is. He can travel anywhere, and he takes the holy Dhamma of Vrindavan with him, because his consciousness is always in Vrindavan.
The Supreme Lord is eternal, and his abode is also eternal. Goloka eva nivasti akhila dana bhuta. Brahma Samhita 5.37. Although the Lord is always stationed in his abode, Golok Vrindavan, he is present everywhere in fullness. This means that when the Supreme Lord descends to the surface of the world, his original abode is not vacant, for he can remain in his original abode and simultaneously descend upon Mathura Vrindavan, Ayodhya and other places. He does not need to descend, since he is already present there. He simply manifests himself.
Yes. That's why Srila Prabhupada would call these beautiful paintings windows to the spiritual world. Because through these paintings we get a glimpse of Krishna in Vrindavan, Mathura, Dwarka, and we can then meditate on his beautiful pastimes through these windows. So when Krishna comes here to manifest his pastimes, it's not that Goloka Vrindavan is empty. No, he's just allowing us to view. That's what manifest means. He's allowing us to see some of the pastimes that are going on in the original Goloka Vrindavan. And that's why here, in this Bhoma Vrindavan, this is where he chose to manifest those lila. And even now, if our consciousness is pure, we're able to see those pastimes. The 6 Goswamis, that's how they were able to write so many very, very esoteric, confidential pastimes of the Lord, because they were so deeply Krishna conscious that they could actually see the pastimes of Krishna and all of his devotees going on through their chanting of Hare Krishna. There are many, many examples given by Prabhupada and the Acharyas of how the 6 Goswamis, they could write all these beautiful literatures because they had that eternal vision of seeing Krishna's pastimes while they were here in Vrindavan.
Vasudeva and Nanda Maharaja were so intimately connected that they lived like brothers. Furthermore, it is learned from the notes of Sripada Madhavacharya that Vasudeva and Nanda Maharaj were step-brothers. Vasudeva's father, Surasena, married a Vaishya girl, and from her Nanda Maharaja was born. Later, Nanda Maharaja himself married a Vaishya girl, Yashoda. Therefore, his family is celebrated as a Vaishya family. And Krishna, identifying himself as their son, took charge of Vaishya activities. Krishi Go Rakshya Vanniyam. Bhagavad-Gita 18.44.
So eternally we're all related. Because Krishna is the original Supreme Lord, we're all his devotees. And when Krishna descends here, when he manifests his pastime, all of his devotees have so many intimate relationships also. So in the very beginning, we heard that Devamidha, he had Parjanya and Surasen as sons. Parjanya, he went to, because his mother was a Vaishya, he went and he took care of all the Braj area, and Surasen stayed there in Mathura. From Parjanya came Nanda Maharaj, the 5 sons. Then Nanda Maharaj also married a Vaishya girl. And you can go to the place where Yashoda Mai was born. It's a beautiful village just near Nandagram called Maharana. Very beautiful. And from their combination, from their devotion, They only wanted to engage in Lord Krishna's pure devotional service, and Krishna was so attracted by their devotion and their particular relationship with him in Vatsalya Ras that he immediately gave up the association of Vasudeva and Devaki and went to perform pastimes with his eternal mother and father, Yashoda and Devaki. When the Lord appeared as Gaurhari, as Nimai, it's explained in the Gauragandash Deepika that Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj were Sachi Devi and Jagannath Mishra Purandara. But also Kashyapa Muni and Aditi and Devaki and Vasudev, they entered into that form of Sachi and Jagannath Mishra because they wanted to take part in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya also. So this is very confidential. We simply have to understand that all of us have an eternal relationship with Krishna, and when Krishna performs his pastimes, he arranges for the birth of his devotees in different families so they can all assist him in his pastimes. So that's the end. Thank you very much. Yes. Yeah. Yes. No. Yashoda Kund is in Nandagram. Maharana is a distance from Nandagram. You have to go down a little road.